Hey everybody, thanks for joining me as I take a look at a stack of Canadian metal albums. And we're going to start off with this, the newest album by Toronto thrash metal legends Sacrifice, Volume 6, as you may guess, their sixth full-length album from 2025. So, in general, I'm not a big thrash guy, but I've heard very positive things about this album, and in general, I have a soft spot for the old school Canadian bands, Sacrifice being high up amongst them. So this is the original lineup. Got Rob, Gus, Scott, and Joe. And when I say original lineup, I don't know if it all goes back to the very beginning, but at least to the debut album, Torment and Fire from 1986. So this is released in 2025 on Cursed Blessings. And I do have to say, not to take a shot at it, but this is much, much better than the Razor comeback from a couple years ago. I took a look at my Razor ranking I did a couple years ago, and I think I had Cycle of Contempt as the 7th place out of 9, but I think I was lying to myself. I think I got to agree with pretty much everyone that is at the bottom of the Razor catalog, but I'm getting sidetracked here. So, I don't know what it is about the Canadian thrash bands that makes them sound a little different, but they definitely don't sound American, definitely don't sound German, but they don't sound like wholly original either. But the closest comparison of any of the big thrash bands would definitely be Slayer. Aren't Sacrifice known as Canada's Slayer? I think that is a thing. And one of my favorite songs on here, The Short Incoming Mass Extinction, Your Hunger for War, and Black Hashish. Black Hashish is definitely, I'm pretty sure it's the longest song on here, the most progressive, and pretty much an instrumental track. I don't even recall every time I listen, like the vocals really popping up, but the lyrics here are basically just fire, inhale, and exhale. Dedicated to Scarborough, the part of Toronto that they're from, and the part of Toronto that I lived in my preteen years at least. And there's also a bonus track down here. It doesn't say bonus track, but it's not on the Spotify version. That is Trapped in a World, originally recorded by Direct Action. So there we go, Sacrifice, Volume 6. Next up we have Smolder and Dream Quest Ends. 2020 on Cruz del Sur. They are a epic doom band, maybe more so a epic traditional heavy metal band from Toronto. Metal Archives and Wikipedia both have this album listed as an EP, but Spotify has it as a full-length album, and at 6 songs, 36 minutes, it's basically about the same length as their 2 full-length albums. But in any case, this was released in 2020. Sarah from Banger TV handles the vocals here, and from what I gather, she is married to guitar player Sean, and they, a couple years ago, moved out to Finland, and they have a Finnish live lineup. I don't know where the band goes from here. I think they've definitely put out an album since its release. And I like Smolder stuff in general. Really good. Never seen them live. But comparisons, I mean, the easy, lazy comparisons, but accurate, is Cirith Ungol and Manila Road. Kind of go a little bit further into the future, something like Solstice, and then up to the modern day, something like Atlantean Codex. But the best thing about this album, and this style of metal in general, is definitely the riffs. Just epic and fun, and if I were a musician, I'd imagine it's a blast to play live. My favorite songs here are the title track, Dream Quest Ends, Voyage of the Sun Chaser, and the only song I didn't really like on here at first is Cage of Mirrors. I think Sarah has a great vocal performance on this album, but the vocals on, like during the the verses of a song I wasn't crazy about, but they break into these cool Venom parts, and in the end, it's a pretty epic song that tells a cool story. And so there's my least favorite song on here, being a pretty good one. Next up, yet another Toronto band. I guess all the albums we're going to talk about are coming from the GTA, and this is Chainbreaker, Toronto-based speed metal band, and their one and only full-length album, Lethal Desire, released on Hell's Headbangers in 2019. So you could, circle around a bit the Canadian thrash of Sacrifice, but whereas Sacrifice is pretty much pure thrash metal, I'd say, while it's definitely very thrashy, Chainbreaker is closer to like a blackened speed metal. Members past and present of Toronto heavy metal luminaries such as Cauldron, Goathorn, Rammer, amongst many others, and it even seems like 2 of the 4 members here had stints in Toxic Holocaust. I don't know if that was just live performances or what. But the majority of these songs are 2 to 3 minutes. A 2 to 3 minute thrash song is generally not gonna stay in my rotation, but I think this is a pretty killer release, and my 2 favorite tracks here are Methalina and The List. Gonna close this off with something a little different. So, I don't know, a month or 2 ago, I was at my new local vinyl store, and I was cashing out, and the owner kind of walked up and said, this is a band called Crast. They're some friends of mine. They want their music out there, and I want you to take this home, and free of charge. Very nice of them. I definitely did that, and we'll get to the music in a minute. So, Crast are from Barrie, Ontario, about an hour north of the city, maybe 40 minutes north for me. And this is their second full-length album from 2024, Headspace. Seems to be independently released on black vinyl. So I wrote something down here from their Spotify page. It says math rock and FM classics, second wave Midwest emo and progressive metal, ambient music, and pure 6-string power pop. I would say this album is not quite as schizophrenic as that description would have you believe. I also think this is a very cool album cover, by the way. First song, Headlights. Gotta be honest, I wasn't into it. A very accessible, poppy, melodic hardcore, and I'm definitely okay with that genre. But that song just wasn't doing much for me. But the good news is it was all uphill from there. The next song, No Chance, is like a heavier version of that melodic hardcore, maybe something kind of like Snapcase. And then later in the album, Too Real, and my bad, I forget the other song title, but basically like a more emotional version of, again, that kind of 90s style melodic hardcore. Something like Grade from a fellow GTA residents. That album Under the Radar from like 1999. That's still one of my favorite albums ever. And throw in a little bit of like White Pony era Deftones, and there you have it. So overall, it's not metal, but fresh and interesting heavy music that I'll definitely be keeping my eye on, and hopefully I can even check out a local gig sometime. That's it from me today. Thanks for watching. See you next time.